Hola, audiencia, y bienvenidos a Oye Cinema Club. I am Jason, your host, and tonight we're going to be reviewing a cult classic, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've been trying to get this movie on here for a long time, see it a long time. So finally it happens, but I'm not alone. Let me introduce you to our illustrious panel of co-hosts. We have Don Dino, we have Marina, and we have Steve Dez. TV, folks. So let's get into this Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've never saw this before, so it's my first time ever seeing it. I know that's like a big faux pas for cinema fans and just like I guess fans of life. This it's a big movie. This movie's been big since I was like a little kid. I've been seeing this thing around town, and I've never seen it. So I picked it because we had our tournament bracket, and our tournament bracket gracefully suggested that we pick a box office bomb, which this was, or we picked a movie that starts with the letter of our first name. So I chose the bomb. And as we know, this thing's a cult classic. And that's why I picked it. And it's also on my things to knock off lists in general and the 1001 list. So those are all the reasons that was easy select for me this week. Let's get into first impressions of this movie. Ladies first, Marina, tell us about the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay, so yeah, I too had not watched this. Are we just like a band of frauds? I don't know. But
Mhm.
I've never seen this before. I'd heard of it. Obviously, growing up, very conservative, definitely didn't watch it as a kid. And I'm not really into horror, so it's never been at the top of my list. But I'd always wondered to myself why this movie was so popular in the queer community. I was like, why do they like this scary movie? Like, what's happening? Like, why is this so popular with like friends of mine that like to dress up and go out and act this out? People are like, yeah, you should come. We're gonna go to like this sing along. And I'm just like, why are you guys singing along to a horror movie? So I definitely learned why. Like this movie is definitely very beautiful and rainbow and vibrant. And yeah, I'm actually kind of bummed that I never watched it before because I was avoiding it because I thought it was like horror scary, like extremely scary. There's some elements of it that is like creepy and spoiler, someone does get killed, but but I definitely didn't realize it's more of like about the music and about people and performing. So it was definitely a really good first impression. Like literally yesterday, I was like, oh gosh, let me watch a scary movie. I'm like, I'll watch half today and I'll watch the other half before. And I couldn't stop. I finished it all. And I was like, let me just get this done. And yeah, as a person who surprisingly never was no one's ever explained the plot or anything, like watching it with like a fresh set of eyes, it's still in 2026 is a good watch.
Very cool. All right. Steve Dez, you're next, bucko.
Alrighty. So my first impression, first time watching this film, um, I always heard about this film, like through the vibration of art people that want to become musical theater majors or whatever. And I did see maybe snippets of this as a play, not as a film. Um, and watching the film, I mean, coming from watching snippets of the play when I was back in college in like my artsy days, and now watching the actual film, and watching the film, I have to put this caveat passively because I was doing stuff. My ADD was out of control. So I was doing stuff while watching the film. And I personally even want to take in this particular review a little bit of a back seat to like trying to figure out what I watched because I was confused. I was just like, wait, what? I was the same thing of like, I thought I confused this movie when I was a kid and I didn't hear about this film. I thought Little Shop of Horrors was this stuff. So I was like, where's the plant that like eats people or whatever? And and then I was like, oh no, those are two different movies.
Funny.
And and then I also thought like Marina that this was gonna be like scary. And I was like, I mean, it can be scary if you're a homophobe, but like if you're not, this is the most tame, scary movie I've ever seen personally. But I was just confused as to like it was like the crazy stuff is happening, and then they're on a stage and their music is hitting, and then there's like a narrator dude. Like it was just cutting up and down and all this stuff. Maybe because I was watching it passively again, that I was just a bit confused of like, is this real? Is this a dream? And then when I read a little bit, I like to not do any research, but when I read a little bit that this is kind of a spoof, this is like spoofing like sci-fi and horror. I was like, okay, now that I have this context, now it makes a little bit more sense to me. But like at first, I was just trying to tie in, like, what the heck is happening? Is this a dream? Is this real? Is And like, and yeah, and also the act, like knowing the context of a spoof. Also, some of the acting is also justified in that sense because it's like, I, I don't know if the right word is exaggerated, but there's like a way that they're acting in certain scenes in particular that's very like spoofy like. So anyway, those are my first impressions.
Very cool. Very cool. Dino, do you got some first
Yeah.
impressions for us?
Yeah, so I've seen this movie now, I don't know, a few times, maybe a little more. I have a weird connection or thought about this movie. This is one of those where I feel like I saw it as a kid, which I shouldn't have, but there are definitely scenes of it that were ingrained in my mind, and I remember this because I remember Meatloaf, and I remember that part of it, and like the motorcycle crash and all that, because then I remember seeing other Meatloaf movies when I was in Paraguay, but I had kind of suppressed all that or whatever, and then when I came to the U.S. in college, talk about musical theater nerds and they were all raving about the Rocky Horror Picture Show and this and that and blah blah blah. And I think I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And they're like, "You what?" And this was like before the internet was a thing. And they're like, "We gotta watch it." And I was like, "Okay, everyone, like, calm down." And I think went to they did like a viewing of it at my girlfriend's place at the time, and I hated it. Not because of the experience, because there's nothing worse than people staring at you to see your reaction the whole time.
That's
And
funny.
then if you know about the midnight showing and how it can be interactive and all that with the audience, they were doing that. So they were doing like, the Janet and slut and like yelling all this shit and then starting to sing. And I was just like, I fucking hate this movie so much. Um, but that was because of like my first experience watching it, as an adult. And then I knew people that even did we went to midnight showing of it there in Alabama, talk about homophobes. So it was crazy and great seeing like huge old Alabama theater packed, and sold out show of Rocky Horror, show. And what's weird is they do like at least two type of midnight showings. One I think is just show the movie and people have like forks I think and throw the forks and like yeah they have bread I think and they'll throw bread and they always scream I think with slut when I think she speaks or when they say Janet I think maybe they I forget what it is but there's a whole thing of what they do. Um but then the other one is they'll have a showing of the movie, they'll do all that, and then they'll have people in cosplay on stage, like if it's an old timey type of theater, so there's like a stage and then the screen, and they'll have like the main cast of people dressed up and basically lip syncing through the movie. And so I had a bunch of friends that did that. that did, I guess, a lip syncing while the movie was going on, while it was midnight showing, while they was like throwing stuff. And then there was even a costume uh competition. What? Yeah, there's a yeah. So then there were like people, like almost everyone in the audience was also dressed up in their characters and stuff like that. And so yeah, there was a costume competition. So that experience is amazing, right? The lip syncing is a little weird, but the like seeing it live, seeing it with people, it's in Alabama, like it was just, and at that point, then seeing it by myself also later, or even before that time, I was like, okay, there's some really really good stuff in this. I do want to point out, not the first movie that we've seen that a character has love and hate tattooed on their knuckles. You know, the Night of the Hunter. And maybe we saw another movie since then. I was trying to remember, but I feel like this might be the third movie now that we've seen that a character has
Maybe Romeo
love.
and Juliet.
Yes, yes, I think you're right. Yeah, there were so many more bits. Like again, it's been a long time since I've seen this. Maybe 15 years. Whew. But notice, so this time around, I just kind of was watching more of the background stuff, or just like bits, and like I mean Tim Curry is, this is so weird, right? Like growing up, Tim Curry being in Home Alone 2, then him being in It. That I love clowns. I've been a clown before, but boy was that terrifying. And then you find out that this was kind of how he started. Because this was a musical before in the West End, and then it came to Broadway, and then they did the film, and he was the main guy. He played every single, from England to Broadway to the movie, which is amazing. Um, but yeah, so he had the electric knife bit when cutting, I guess, the ham or Eddie, if you will. And then instead of shushing people or like telling people stuff, he'd just be like, "Meh, meh." So I was picking up on all these like super subtle cues, and then also the lyrics. Like again, when everyone isn't singing around you and distracting you, they're like lyrics that like actually hit. You know, uh, Susan Sarandon, just amazing. Like her character can be really annoying, but like if you actually watch it, it's so great. You're wet, and she's like, yes, it's raining. Like her delivery and like eyes and like fainting, like I love that. And then the heavy petting, because you don't want to do heavy petting because it ends up with just feet wetting. Like some of these lyrics are just crazy. Anyway, but a lot of things I didn't actually remember. I forgot the whole in the swimming pool bit at the very end. Like, but yeah, there's so many nods to, there's the Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, King Kong. Like, yeah, so many different connections with so many other movies that, yeah, you really, it's fun that you can watch this movie from different perspectives. So, yeah, that's my overall interaction with this movie.
Very cool. Thank you for that, Dino. And then there was me. So again, this is my first time ever seeing this movie. It's been on my long list to watch for a long ass time. I had heard for years, since I was like a little kid, I heard about the like the midnight screenings of this, and people would go crazy and throw the stuff during the movie, and it would get like kind of wild, and people would dress up, and it was just like pandemonium and chaos. At least that's the way it was sold to me as like a little boy, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if I'll ever get a chance to do that, you know. And I always kind of felt like I would, like it was a thing. Somewhere along the line, I lost like the care or desire, because if I really wanted to see like a midnight screening of this thing, I could have, because it's been on every midnight, since 1976. Like there's actually one coming up this Saturday night. I looked it up, like in the area at the New Art Theater or whatever. That's crazy. So I think this is like the longest running like movie or musical of all time, because it's like never stopped showing. It's always showing somewhere in the world, which is insane. when the movie originally came out, it like flopped big time. But then like since then, I mean, it's still having a theatrical run technically. I'm sure it picks up a lot during Halloween, because it's always showing during that time. Uh, okay, so what I thought about this thing. Um, I will say that I liked it, but it's not what I expected because I didn't really have an expectation other than, okay, I know this is a musical. I know it's a horror themed thing. So there's probably going to be a monster or something or a killing or, I was like, something like that's going to happen. I was like, but I didn't really know what to expect. I kind of forgot who was in it from time to time. I was like, oh, that's right. Meatloaf is in it. Oh, that's cool. Oh, Susan Sarandon. Very cool. Like just sort of remembering, what I had just seen in clips and stuff. Uh, I really like the performances in this thing a lot. Tim Curry is just brilliant. Like, Dino mentioned, like he's so good. He's so captivating in this thing. Such a probably one of the best performances of, someone being like a trans or effeminate character like in cinema that I've ever seen. And it's just iconic. He's just so iconic in this thing. It's like you remember him instantly, even though I've never seen him in this. Terrific. And everybody else is terrific too. I really do like the cast. Meatloaf is a big standout. I wish Meatloaf would have had more screen time. I was really getting into that dude, and then they took him away from me. It's like, oh man, like I want to see this dude go crazy in here. Which is unfortunate. It probably sound like an idiot saying that because everybody else has seen it a billion times, but that was what I was hoping for. Um, yeah, this thing is cool, man. Like, there's a lot of it, like where like I'm not really sure what's going on, and like I couldn't understand all the lyrics. I took the titles off the screen when I was watching it, so I wasn't like focused on that. I was just trying to experience it, like as close to like how I would have always experienced it, I guess. Um, and like I liked it, but there were some parts in it I will say where I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to like this very much. Like, this isn't like super awesome to me. This isn't super exciting. Like I don't know what's happening. It's kind of weird. Where's the story taking me? And then it's like, okay, I gotta like kind of give over to it. I gotta just like let it be its own thing for me and like realize that like people who like this like it for all types of reasons, right? Like, this is like counterculture also, and it's like a silly time, and it's also kind of like a big movie for like gay people, and trans people, and free thinking people, and it's a counterculture film. I think at its most core essence, which I dig that, and it's silly, and it's fun, and it's a little dark, and it's a little twisted, and all those things are kind of fun. I think I would like to see this again in different settings, I suppose. But the thing that stood out most to me, and the music was okay. Like, there's two songs that I really like in this thing. I like the two more rocky numbers. I like the Rocky Horror main theme, and I like the song with the Meatloaf character. Those were the ones I really really liked. But the rest of the book was fine. I mean, I guess I see how people be into it, but it was good. Overall, it was good. It was a fine musical. It kept giving me the vibe too, though, of sort of like community theater, even though it's like a big picture. I was like, this is like these are like the kings. These are like the gods of community theater right now. Like, this is the peak crescendo of what community theater could ultimately become. That's what this felt like. But it was cool. I mean, I know a little bit about the story and the lore. Oh, I will share one story to break out of our final thoughts that I thought was pretty cool. Um, so on the opening night of of the play, when they were doing this in London, I guess they were doing it like maybe in an old church or something like that. And on opening night, right before the show started, and they're all the actors are taking their place, and Richard O'Brien, I guess, comes out, to take his place on the stage or whatever. Like, I guess the lights start to dim out, and then as soon as the lights go completely dark in the theater, there's lightning. He goes, and there's rain. It's raining that night. And there's rain hitting. Like, they can hear the rain thumping on the theater, and the lightning goes off, and it flashes through the church or whatever, through the performance space. And in the audience, in that flash, for that brief second with the lightning, he saw Vincent Price sitting in the audience. And he goes, "Oh, whoa, okay, that's a good omen." And then he starts the show, and it becomes this. So I thought that was kind
Right.
of cool. But yeah, let's go into like a little bit like deeper stuff about the movie. Like, I want to know what you guys thought of the music in general, and I want to know what your favorite song or musical number is.
Well, first off, gotta say Richard, for people that don't know, Richard O'Brien is Riff Raff. Uh, so yeah, and he wrote the musical, and yeah, and he sadly, when they've asked him, "Oh, do you prefer the movie or the musical, the stage?" and he's like, "Well, the stage, because I actually get royalties from that." And apparently, whatever they had signed, or how contracts are, and I'm sure contracts are different. None of those actors get paid from like the midnight movies. So that right there is wild to think of, like the longest running movie which I think started in LA. I might be wrong, but I think that whatever theater in LA is where they first started doing the midnight showings of this one, or at least the longest running one. But yeah, music wise, I mean, the introduction of Tim Curry again. I mean, those heels. God damn. That alone, I feel like. I mean, anything like I was thinking like he's got such a Freddie Mercury vibe to him also. Of like
Yeah.
his control of his singing and his mouth is just yeah. So I feel like anything with that, but yeah, definitely Meatloaf, and then yeah, the Susan Sarandon. I would have to say it's probably the introduction of what is it? I'm a transsexual from Transylvania. Is that what it goes? Whatever. Yeah, Tim Curry's opening song is, because it's just one of the most shocking things probably. If you've never seen this or you know nothing about this, like we've talked about movies and stuff or situations where it's like, oh, I wish I were a fly on the wall of like like this is one of those things that I'm like, not because I'm like, oh, this is the greatest film ever or I really love this film, but I'd love, like you're saying Vincent Price would be there, like I'd love being a fly during the production of this, from the stage play in or musical in London, and then even the Broadway or just the filming of this. Like it's just so weird and bizarre but fun and campy. And then just the first kind of midnight show, like it's such a part of counterculture, and cult following, and we had seen that documentary, Jason and I, about the different cult movies and midnight movies, and this is such a big part of that yeah. I mean, last year was 50th anniversary. So anyway, but I'll go with that first song that he comes in. But anything where he's singing in, I think is just top notch. That's what I gotta say
Yeah,
about
I
that.
I
So anyway, the other song I really like is Susan Sarandon. Oh, there we go. Okay.
All right. So for me, again, watching this movie, zero idea what was about to go down. I actually was really intrigued by the intro song, like the first song of the entire movie, because like when it first started and they're at this wedding and it's like a whole bunch of like small townsy folks, I was like, what are we watching?
Wow.
Like they break into song inside the chapel, and it gave me like super Mamma Mia vibes. Like it reminds literally the what dang it Janet reminds me of Mamma Mia, where'd you go again? I was just like, okay, I can get behind this. We're singing and dancing. I literally had zero idea this was gonna be like that. And um so yeah, that definitely pulled me right in. Like um well, it was kind of weird because, like, I guess, like, it alludes to it later, but I thought the only thing I thought was that, like, she was interested in him, and I thought he wasn't interested in her because maybe he was, like, in love with the guy who had just got married. I don't know if I was overthinking it, but yes, for him to be like, "Oh, I do love you." I was confused, but like I said, once the music started, I just went along with the journey. I didn't care that this couple didn't need to be together. I liked seeing the like all the songs. Um, Obviously some things got weird, and that's why I definitely say the first song is probably my favorite because like it eased me in. It wasn't just like heels and Transylvania town. Um, but Yeah, it definitely for a person like me, it was a good ease in. Like, there's gonna be some stuff going down. We also got the little the guy giving us sidebar, so I knew something was about to go down while they're driving. And but yeah, it was a great introduction.
You know what? I would really firmly agree with that. I think it's a brilliant choice to open a movie like this, like that, where it's like, okay, it's a very wholesome looking marriage. It's marriage is a very universal theme. Everybody can like they understand what it is. It's like, because the average viewer watching this that doesn't know what they're getting into, they're going to be tripped out if you go straight into the heels and stilettos and the stockings and stuff, or leggings or whatever they're called. Um,
But you
yeah,
guys
so
are
it's like
skipping over the disembodied lips singing then at the beginning. Like that's weird if you see that and it says,
disembodied
lips,
legs.
lips, the disembodied lips
Oh
still
yeah,
singing
yeah,
at the
that is pretty
beginning.
weird. Yeah, you're right. All that,
And I
yeah, that
think
that kind of lets you know something different is going to happen. But
because it
see,
goes and
that's what
oh,
I
real quick,
expect at a midnight movie, like the movie to start with big red lips. I'm like, oh yeah, people are probably really
yeah,
stoned or high on stuff
yeah,
in the audience, and they're about to get
yeah.
into this thing.
And the title is like all kind of bloody, but I will say because there is so many horror references watching it this time because it's after we also watched the Night of the Living Dead. Was that the very first Romero one?
Uh huh.
The Janet and Brad were giving me that vibe, especially because they walk from the chapel kind of into the cemetery part of it, and
Right,
then like I was getting like, oh crap, I can't even think of the line now of in the Night of the
Barbara.
Living Dead. Barbara, I'm coming to get you. Like I was getting that vibes
Oh,
for
that's
sure.
pretty interesting.
But yeah, maybe because and then in church, even though well, Marina, what do you think? Like it's wedding, but then they rotate the flowers and it's black instead of the white flowers during the wedding. It goes, they just rotate the flowers at and then they bring out the coffin even. So just like such a flip. Did that not throw you off though with a really nice little song they were having?
I don't think I caught that
I don't
at
think I
all.
thought it either.
Not even the coffin?
No, I guess.
So
Or like, are you? Is it like a one stop shop then? Like wedding's over, and next they got a funeral kind of thing. But I
yeah, yeah,
missed.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
missed it too.
That's when they do start, right? Because they're behind it and like, dang it, Janet. Yeah, they were when they were in there. But yeah, I guess I didn't even think about why did they go back into the chapel when everybody's
yeah,
gone. Are they
yeah. So
are they dead the whole time?
Whoa. Okay, so I will say
oh
this early. I was going to save this for later in the conversation, but I started to think like this is definitely there's so much sort of happening and things under the surface that this is one of those movies where you sort of have to see it a second time to put together like all the things that are really going on with these people and these characters in this situation. Because if you watch it from the beginning, after watching it all the way through, you're probably going to notice things like Marina said with like, does he really like his friend? Like, is that what's going on here? Like, is he a little bummed that his friend just got married and he's leaving? But for me, you know what I noticed in that scene? It's pretty dark. Like, I feel like that scene's really dark. Did you read what was on the side of the car when he jumps into it? Because
yeah.
when the movie starts, I don't know who's getting married. I don't know. I can't really tell what's happening. And then when I finally figure it out, I'm like, oh, wait, and then the side of the car said something crazy like this was her time, like now this is your
Tonight,
time or some shit like that. Or
tonight
something
will
like
be
what the
his.
fuck?
Well, basically, like now tonight he's gonna get it. You know what? Like
Yeah, like the implication
yeah,
was like it almost felt like an attack a little bit. It felt like a
yeah.
little wild to me.
The
Like, yeah,
implication
I'm about to
was
assault my wife
sex.
tonight.
Yeah, I'm getting sex. But okay, so this question, since again, like I was able to just watch it already, just kind of checking out the backgrounds, all that. You noticed Tim Curry was the priest, right? At the wedding, like he was standing
So
there
I didn't
I
at the
was
notice
top.
that.
I
Oh yeah,
wasn't
I did notice that. I noticed him back there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
was gonna
that
say that, and the
yeah,
like because the blonde guy was there too.
Rocky or Riff Raff. Riff Raff was also there, and so was Magenta.
No, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't.
they were all kind of because then they were doing the American Gothic basically pose as well, you know. he had the hay stabby thing, hay rake. I don't know what's the hay, you know, and
So
it's
the people that were singing "Dang It, Janet" were also in the house.
yeah,
Okay, I didn't even I thought so for a little bit, but that guy was such an actor with his hunchback
yeah,
and no hunchback. Now I'm
yeah,
a Universal, like a Star Trek guy. Like he had so
yeah.
many different
So
looks.
he's the writer of the show. The
Oh,
Yeah, so he's the writer of the musical and co-writer of the screenplay and all that.
let's
But yeah,
go.
so yeah, for me, and that I've seen it enough where I already knew all that, so I could just focus on even like small, like I know, oh, it's like, oh, the Mona Lisa is there. Did I ever realize the Mona Lisa was there? So I was
Mm.
looking at a lot of the background stuff and focusing on the dancers of the crew and stuff, like the people dancing, and I kind of enjoyed it that way.
Why is
Um,
my face so big?
what?
Like you guys look so small.
Oh, because I'm leaning back on the couch.
I look
Oh,
like
Because that margarita is making me lean back.
oh
yeah.
yeah.
Um. Okay. Wait. What was I gonna say? Oh, Steve, did you have anything that you wanted to talk about the music about, or were you just
He said
like,
he was going to be more background because he was ADDing out of the movie.
oh, okay, all right,
But
cool,
to
right, right.
but just to agree with you before we move on, I do feel like, yeah, it is one of those movies that you say "what the fudge" the first time, and then you go back and find the clues for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And there are clues in it, and that's the weird thing. It's kind of like a lot of this movie seems cheap, but still thoughtful. It almost feels like all of this was engineered for it to be what it is. And I know it's kind of like I don't know if it is a big mistake, but it all feels a little bit like engineered to be what it is. I mean, and also like for a movie like this is like 20th Century Fox. For a movie like
yeah,
this to talk about, transvestites in 1975 is pretty bold, and uh they could have just played. They didn't have to say that he was a transvestite. They made it up front, like this is what this is. You know what I mean? They could have just like inferred it the whole movie. Without that one line, we don't actually know for real, right? We can just infer anything we want. But they put it on the table like this is what this is, you guys. And then so yeah, it's really interesting to me in that regard. I know this movie has to like go down in like some type of like sort of what do you call those things, period boxes that you put in. Like, I mean, this is I think a pretty important movie, like even in cinema history, to be honest with you, considering what I know now. People kept it pretty secret from me. Nobody ever really ruined what this story is about, or maybe they can't. Maybe this isn't the kind of movie where you could tell people what it's actually about, because I really still don't know what it's about. Do you guys? Like, do you know what the main theme of this is, or is it just
I
fun?
mean, it ends with aliens. Like, it's so I've never like it's one of those movies where like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming. And then finally, you're like, okay, he's like this psychopath, Doctor Frankenstein type, and then Riff Raff and shows up with a fucking laser gun, and they're like, "We're going home," and it's like, "Wait, what? Like now aliens?" Like, yeah, it's one of those like all bets are off. Um, I think watching it this time, I was thinking like, man, I feel like movies of musicals kind of not around even the same time, but maybe of like famous one. I feel like Grease. I feel like Cabaret, and then like I feel like this one is like these are like three like old school kind of musicals
Yep.
that each has like a hold in what is it in modern culture or whatever, but this one is just like, yeah, we can play with all those things. We're not gonna just stick to the cabaret type of moment, or Sondheim, a class act, or even like the Grease. We'll show we can sprinkle that in, but then like we'll do like, imagine if cabaret, the whole thing was just in the cabaret, because this is kind of like cabaret without being outside of the cabaret, just like the
Right.
weirdness of it all.
They're
Um,
trapped in the cabaret.
yeah, and then I know what I was gonna mention again is like I've never been really a horror movie that I like or watch. Not really genre that really interests me. Maybe because I thought it was cheap, or like usually that's just like cheap scares or whatever. But especially since starting this club, we've seen so many like horror movies. Kind of like Marina being like watching black and white movies or silent movies or foreign movies like this is my
Or weird
thing
Dino
for
movies.
which are probably a combination of all those. Foreign, black and white, silent. But yeah, but so what I've gotten the most out of kind of our cinema club is having to watch horror movies or more thrillers and stuff like that that I I usually wouldn't have watched or wouldn't have thought. So seeing this time again is where I was picking up more like, oh, is that a reference to that horror movie? Is this a reference to that black and white movie? So yeah, it's a fun way to that was able to look at it this time around after experiencing more horror movies recently. But yeah, I also
Yeah. That's yeah, this movie, I kind of want to see someone like intellectualize like the heck out of this movie. I want to see somebody like break it down like academia and like this is, and I'm sure there's somebody on YouTube doing it. You know what I mean? But I just feel like you can, even though it's unnecessary.
okay,
I'm scared
Jason.
of that rabbit hole. I don't
Let,
want to.
let me okay, Jason. Since you were thinking of that, did you have an idea and did that maybe evolve and then at the end you were just like, you know what, fuck it, I got this completely wrong, like like at the first quarter of the movie or something like that, where you're like, oh, this movie's about this or this movie's about finding yourself, right, sexually or whatever, or
You
and
know
then
what?
half.
Like, I usually can tell within the first 30 minutes, like, what the main theme of the movie is, sort of like what direction we're going in,
Yeah.
or, but this didn't have that. And it didn't, and I was trying to place myself like, okay, it's 1975. Like, where are these people in the culture? And like, I was trying to go there with it. Um, but by the end of it, all I thought is like, okay, so these are just very free people like just wanting to rock out and have fun and do something quirky and goofy and cynical and sarcastic, you know that just, I don't know, there's like counterculture thing like eh,
Well, okay, the weirdest thing that I don't think I've recognized before, or I don't know why, on the radio in the car they have Nixon saying that he's
okay,
stepping
so I
down.
was thinking about that, like, okay, so they're making a statement here, the president is addressing them, or not them, but addressing us, the audience, for like, at least 15-20 seconds. I'm like, okay, what is happening here?
Yeah,
But that was Nixon, huh?
yeah, that's Nixon. His speech before like when he's leaving office, right? That's that's totally Nixon.
That's interesting.
And so, but that I don't think would. Well, actually, now I'm trying to think. 75, Carter would have already been in power, and Nixon came out even less before. So that, yeah, you got to think about when the musical was written, when it was first
73,
performed.
right? This
Yeah,
thing
and then
this thing got made into a movie fast. 2
yeah.
years. It's
So
crazy.
and that I don't know if we're jumping around a lot, but Fox, they it became huge in England, and then I think it became huge in Broadway, and I'm sure Fox was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great, a musical movie, and I'm sure somebody like rubber stamped or was like, let's do this. This movie, it's got Rocky and it's got horror. That's gonna sell, and someone probably just like, let's do it, and then realized what it was and I got promoted really badly, or like you said, they would have known how to go up, how to sell the movie. And again, like it's overacted. Like think about it, Susan Sarandon, like a lot of these people are such really good actors, and at times you're like, oh man, this person must have never worked again. That's how bad of an actor or whatever they are. Um, but that was the point of their characters, overacting, and again, like kind of a spoof or kind of like making fun of these other types of shows and stuff like that. And I just think Fox was like, oh, what do we do? Like, oh, they actually said the word transvestite, and it's not like now also that, people just say trans, right? And back then, I don't think, like, unless you said transvestite, it wouldn't have gotten across as being a thing. Um, so I think that's where the marketing was probably fell through when it first came out. Um, but yeah, it's it's a weird thing to I guess be a part of that kind of show or movie, and then them realizing like this is not what we thought it was gonna be. Because as a kid, you hear Rocky Horror, and it's like, is this Sylvester Stallone horror movie? Is this an alternative alt alt reality where Sylvester with Rocky Balboa goes around like Mr. T hooking up with Scooby Doo or whatever, and they go solve crimes, Rocky
Well,
Balboa.
this thing has a certain power on it too, though, man, because I was thinking to myself, how come you haven't seen this? Like, you've seen all the other horror movies. They come on cable, they come on TV, they're all over the place. Like, and I'm watching this thing, and it's like, Halloween has come on TV before. And I'm watching this and I'm like, well, how come this is not an easy one to find, honestly. You have to go to like a video store or something. This doesn't just come on TV. It's not handed out like candy. And I guess I'm watching it now and I'm like, oh, I guess I see why. I see why this thing hasn't played just
Like I
on
said,
television.
and
So
like
it's
I said,
rated. Oh,
go ahead.
it's rated R,
Mm.
Mm.
which you got to think about it. What? And again, it's because of
A
the
rated R
sexuality.
musical.
It's the sexuality. It's other than him going at it to Meatloaf, which you don't see really a lot. It's a rated R film because it's basically prude,
Wait, what
and
about
there is
Meatloaf?
When he
well
killed.
other than him
Oh,
going
right.
and
Yeah, the death
attacking,
scene. Sure.
you don't see a whole lot. So like, and there really isn't cuss words, right? They really like skirt around any like actual cuss word or overly sexual words. Like there's no real talking about fucking and all that. It's all kind of coy in the 1950s kind of way. Like even their underwear compared to
Yeah, I guess you're
femininity.
right. It is all sort of
Uh,
sexual, isn't it?
I
and
wonder if they
so it's
should they can request like a rating redo because it definitely is rated R because it's gay.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like, and it's in 1975, they were probably just like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
trans? Oh, rated R. I don't care if
Yeah.
they're wearing panty panties and we don't see anybody's body parts. It's
Well,
rated
yeah.
R. I
Yeah.
There
don't
was
think.
there was a nipple slip from Colombia at the end.
Oh,
When
okay.
they get undone from the statues, that's one of the things that literally popped out. I guess maybe it's also when seeing it like in a just big screen right here. I was like, oh, this nipple is just flat out
I
in
missed it.
the.
I have to go back
I
and check it
know.
out.
Yeah, you should. It's when they're statues and they get like undone from the statues and they're so right before the swimming pool and
Okay.
she's like singing and dancing across stage. I was like, oh, there's a nipple, and like that's a thing. Which I would imagine the I would like to hear also because sometimes there have been cases where for the MPAA or whatever MPPAA or MPAA or whatever, like they'll not even watch sometimes the full movie, right? Or they won't do certain things. Or I think someone that did the Beetlejuice in one of the scenes, Michael Keaton, I think says fuck or whatever cuss words. And I guess later it came out that whoever was watching it basically fell asleep or couldn't care less because it was such a weird movie
It's
that
funny.
they didn't. yeah, that didn't get
That's
caught,
funny,
and
falling asleep on a job where like you have to rate movies and you're like, I
yeah,
don't care. I got to get out of here. And you just rate the movie and walk out.
yeah,
It's
because it's like a
PG.
PG-13 or yeah for that movie. Yeah, the rate. I mean, the whole ratings thing is so weird and random, and I remember seeing a whole documentary about it. How the whole point was that you had to be basically a parent, an actual parent with kids of a certain age to be at it, and then all these people like have stayed on because they get paid X amount of money to just rate, and their kids are all like 30s or older, and they're still like reviewing movies, and it's like, wait, this you shouldn't still be reviewing, grading movies if you
I
Hire
think
if
that
me.
would
you
be a pretty
have
fair system, honestly.
yeah
I would love that job. Where do I sign up?
Let
Like,
parents rate the movies. No, seriously, like
yeah.
that should be the rating system. The people who have
But
kids.
current parents, not parents that had kids in the 70s or whatever,
Right. Yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I'd say, yeah, right. If your kids are under R-rated age, you should be on the staff.
But that's been also the difference between like European ratings and like American ratings, where here it's like action, gore, all that thing isn't as affected as sexual. Where I think over there it's like sexual is
Sure.
like that's
Right. This
more of a
did start
natural
in London.
thing, in life, whereas violence is the not natural, you know, thing that happens, in life. Like you gotta choose. Like sexuality, I guess, is part of the, human nature, or whatever. Whereas like choosing violence and all that is not,
That's
that.
interesting. It's yeah, that's some programming for sure. So did you guys give me your favorite song or musical number, dance number or
I
whatever?
I said the beginning just
Yeah,
because,
right. You did.
yeah,
And you
it's
said, what did you say, Marina?
the
he
one
said,
in the church.
yeah, the beginning. Like the beginning of like the first one in the church was mine. And Dino's
Okay.
was
Ja-
rock.
Damn it, Janet.
Yeah, I like that one.
Well,
Did you say
I like I like the Meatloaf song a lot, and like I said, I like the Rocky Horror. Do, 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 do. Like yeah, I like that joint. But I really like the scene where Doctor Fronter or whatever his name is, he sneaks into both their boudoirs at night and like because it kind of caught me off guard because I'm like, oh, that I didn't think it wasn't him because that's how they set it up. And then when I saw the magic trick, I'm like, oh, how'd they do that? Oh, that's kind of cool. How they set that up? And I was like, was that him? And I wanted to rewind it, but like, no, let me just keep powering through. And then when they do it again, it's like, oh, that's really funny. It's the
Yeah.
same scene with the same lines. I'm like, oh, this is terrific writing. Like, this is a really funny setup. Like, what's about to happen? And like I was like, I hope they do it exactly. And like, yeah, they are. They are doing the exact same lines. And then the fact that like they both go for it the same way, I'm like, oh, this is terrific. He does this to everybody. Like, this is so funny. Like, I just thought that was a great bit.
humans
He
are so
sneaks into
predictable?
more than just his boudoir.
What'd you say?
He sneaks into more than just his boudoir or whatever.
W-
He's
Oh, right. Yeah, sure. He does. Like, it's crazy.
yeah.
It's
And what
crazy.
were you? I think I spoke over you, Marina. What did you say?
I don't even remember. I was just saying I just thought it was funny that oh, I said humans are predictable. I thought that was a good
Oh.
moment. I was kind
What,
of weirded out because I ran into somebody who had that kind of energy earlier in the day.
like the doctor's energy?
Oh,
The science?
No, yeah, and I was just like,
Wow.
"Oh," like, I
cause
wonder if
that,
he's
yeah.
inspired by this because it was really
But
awkward. I was
but but that's dead at night when he like sneaks in. You said you ran into someone during the day that are like that. Whew,
yeah,
that's
yeah. It's midnight
bit
somewhere.
intense.
I mean, in Hollywood, there's like a dozen guys like that on every corner. So,
But just, like, even, like, the fact that it was, like, a straight male that had, like, a very metro personality,
yeah.
and that is I think I was really weirded out because I was like, whoa, this is, like, feels like, yeah, it was just a weird thing to all happen the same 24 hours. Wow.
Mhm.
That's not really a term anymore, right? I think metrosexual is that kind of been taken out
What
I'm
from
does
not
it
sure.
mean? Does it mean
vernacular.
something else?
What?
Does it mean something else, metrosexual?
Well, I feel like in the early 2000s that was huge. That right
Yeah.
that it was kind of like, oh, that's a guy, I don't know, a man purse or whatever, or
A
A
like,
guy who's a
man
little
who's like
bit,
fashion. I
yeah.
don't even remember what it means anymore, to be
I
honest. I was
know,
about to
but
say, like, I really don't know.
right?
Well,
I'm just
this-
saying, I don't hear that anymore.
and so I will say, sorry if it's offensive, but ironically, he referred to it himself. He said a lot of my friends that are girls think that I am that. And so,
Oh,
yeah, I'm not sure how used it is anymore or what word replaced it. But yeah, I think he definitely understood his own vibe. Because you gravitate towards him because you think he's gonna be your new queer bestie, and then he's like, no, I'm actually not. And I was just like, and so
Very
yeah.
androgynous, sort of like Prince vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Freddie Mercury, just sort of like, yeah, I'm down for everybody. In case you didn't know,
The scientist, the actor, remind me a lot of Freddie Mercury. Like
yeah.
I could
Okay.
totally see that being the inspiration of the character, if
yeah,
or or not vice versa. It's around the same timeline, kind
yeah,
They're
of, right?
almost, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Like, he was probably inspired in some way. I mean, Freddie Mercury also from London, right?
Um,
Yeah.
mm. They said this was his breakout role, right?
Yeah, this is what brought him over to the U.S.,
Oh,
like,
okay.
since he
Oh, I didn't
came to
even
Broadway.
gather that he worked it because he's British,
Hmm.
and then it got him in the eyes about. Oh, okay, all
I mean,
right.
terrific performer regardless. I mean, like, to be putting up this type of performance in London every night for 2 years, or at least developing the role to this point, it's like on par with like John Travolta, what he did in Greece. Like, this is a really high level performance.
So I didn't realize that. So, like how kind of Mean Girls made the musical movie, and they used people that were in the play. That's what this was. Like a play came out first,
Yes.
and
No,
then
it was a musical, I think, first,
musical.
right?
Okay. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
same thing with the Mean Girls too.
yeah,
They had the not, or whatever. The reboot they just did for Mean Girls, it was originally a musical,
Right.
and I heard they kept a lot of the actors in it.
Yes.
Mean
right. But with Mean Girls, it was the movie. Then someone wrote a musical about the movie, and then now there's a movie from the musical.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct?
I'm
Yeah.
definitely skipping the first step, but
Right.
just
Oh,
'cause
okay.
it's more so about how they kept the actors on
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the musical to the new movie.
What,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like in modern day, that hasn't been done a whole lot. They usually just go to the movie star well.
Yeah.
Even before that, even the 50s, a lot of times they would just go to the movie star well. But it's yeah, it's pretty interesting to say like, oh yeah, they kept their cast. That's dope.
Yeah, I like that. Especially because he did so
It
well.
was a mix. It was a mix, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, I'm
Susan.
sure the Susan
Yeah.
Sarandon, like, this is one of her early roles, and she's not from
Well,
London, so
apparently she didn't like. It was like she was terrified, or she didn't was afraid of singing or something, or didn't think she could
Oh,
sing or whatever. But
she did so
apparently her audition was her singing "Happy Birthday." So I mean, she got over it. Maybe it was like, I need that paycheck. Yeah, I guess I'll sing in my you know
and
conservative undergarments.
to be fair, she wasn't the best vocalist, but it didn't matter.
No.
She was playing a person that you would think couldn't sing. So it kind of worked out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the lady who wants to get married in the small
Yeah.
town. Like it's believable.
Naive, and and what's weird, I will say, probably a little bit of the downside, but that's how it was back then, was the sound, right? Because it's recorded. And I think the guy, some of them, well, no, like the people that were in the Broadway cast and even in London, they all sang, but and Susan Sarandon sang, but I think Brad didn't, like, that was a different voice. So yeah, so it was a combination of that. But yeah, but it's not the greatest editing of between them singing and the talking in between the singing. Like, clearly you can tell. And I was even gonna mention, like, how that's where I'm trying to figure out, like, how cheaply did were they trying to make it at times? Because in the church thing at the very beginning, like, you can see the boom, like, in one quick,
Oh
like,
man.
just in a little bit.
oh
They're like,
wow.
when they're getting ready, like, either for the big, and it's like, whoop. So I don't know, like, how much they were doing that. sadly, I guess the movie did so bad the director never directed again or something. Like he was just crushed or whatever, or
Well, that
couldn't
sucks. He
get a
didn't.
job.
Did he didn't live when it had its re up? Because I was thinking about that. Like, how sad is it? Like, I was hoping that people involved are still alive by the time it got its like cult following recognition. That's so like imagine dying and then your movie becomes a DVD sensation.
I don't think he
Like,
died. Like I think it did become it, but I think he just at that moment. Imagine right the 70s. It's not like they were maybe hearing like Susan Sarandon. I think at one point said she tried to go see the midnight show with her daughter, and was like, "I'm Susan Sarandon." They're like, "Yeah, whatever." No, you're not. Like they did it. The whoever was the box office person was like, "Sure, you're Susan Sarandon," or yeah. So she like ended up, paid and went in with her daughter, and but the director must have known, but I mean, it can just be such a yeah. The director is still alive. A bunch of them all were born in 45, 46. But I
mm,
think like you and like how big of a cult following is it versus like, oh, it's just showing in one theater in LA every Saturday on midnight. That's not making, again, it's not making you money, it's making the studio money, and at that point you're already gone, and then it's
But it's
like,
playing in every city on every Saturday night
you know,
all over the country.
right. But at that point, that wouldn't have happened until when, you think? 80s,
I don't know.
90s,
I don't
I think
know.
90s?
I looked it up, but I forgot. I thought I wrote a note. Um,
Because, yeah, so I moved right in '03 to the US, and so it was either '04 '05 when I went, it was already a big thing, like in the, I guess, queer community in Alabama, in Birmingham, right? So even before I got there, so early 2000s, at least during Halloween, they were bringing Rocky Horror to to the movies there.
Ironically,
Um,
according to the internet, it was a really quick turnaround. It says that it initially the film was largely ignored by critics, but it soon became a hit as a midnight movie when audience began participating with the film at the Waverly Theater in New York City,
oh,
1976. So
that's cool,
literally
man.
the next year, but who
Right,
knows how long it took to get like notably all around the
right.
country.
Because also, I think we've gotten confused, or it's also kind of changed the idea of what a cult hit is or cult following, because you have the Big Lebowski and all that. But in the 70s, a cult thing was clearly only showing at midnight at these theaters, right? Like again, it's not like movie about, whether it's transvestite, trans horror, musical, what is it? You can't really pinpoint it. So it's
Yeah.
not like, oh yeah, this is like it's got, this is one of those, like this is definitely like cult, like just very small
Yeah,
group.
this is like one of the initial cult films. Like this
Yeah.
is early cult for sure. This is
And
like
you
one
have,
of the primary. Like
yeah,
in that documentary, there's only 6 movies that they really featured as like the movies that really push like the cult, movement forward. And this is one of the
yeah,
6. This is like super important Hollywood history, or not even Hollywood, just film history, really, American film history. I'm sure this thing probably plays all over the world. To be honest with you, it would be my guess, at least in Europe.
this I mean, Europe might be interesting. I yeah, it would be like more English language thing. I wonder.
I saw the VHS box, so like I said, since I was a kid. First time I went to the
Yeah,
video store, I probably saw the VHS box for this thing.
and that's iconic, right? The poster, it's Tim Curry laying on those lips. Like,
Yep.
you can get your mom to let you rent this at Blockbuster, right? Or what? Like, you can just pick that up and be like, look at this.
I saw the box so many times as a kid. I was just like, oh, eventually I'm going to see this movie because it's in the horror section. And as a kid, you love scary movies because you're not really supposed to watch them. So it's like I was cataloging stuff in my brain. Uh,
And
let's
orange.
go into box office budget, if you guys wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Um, so when this movie initially released in 1975, didn't make much money. It was only produced, they say, between 1 and 1.6 million. There's different reports on the internet, but as of today, it's grossed $200 million.
Wow.
According to Google's AI, at least $200 million on a $1 million make. It just
And
took
I
50 years for it to happen, which is incredible.
from box office, that doesn't include VHS,
That yeah, that
DVD
does not
stuff,
include DVDs or VHS or any of that stuff.
because
Wow.
that would even bump that shit up.
Big
You
time,
know. Um. Yeah.
big
Interesting.
time.
I don't know why.
Not even like VHS rentals, which would have been insane, probably.
That interesting that it's in the horror section, because I would be like, or would you put this in the musical? Like, it is one of those, like, is it? I don't see it that much as horror. I see it more as a musical, but that's, you know,
Well,
I guess
there's
that's
killing in it, and then they sort of like glorified the blood after. Um, and it's rated R, so I would put it in the horror for sure.
okay. Where do you put shit? What's the one with Johnny Depp?
The Shining.
Johnny Depp.
Oh,
Oh,
the
Johnny.
Barber of Seville. What is it called?
Yeah.
The yeah. Anyways, the Barber Johnny Depp musical. No, what's it
Scissorhands.
called?
The Edward Scissorhands or something.
Sweeney Todd. Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Oops.
Sweeney Todd. That's interesting. I feel like I don't know if I would throw that in horror because I feel like people in horror would be disappointed.
But I mean, they're killing people to put them in the meat pie because there's
Yeah.
they're it's harder to catch cats is I think one of the
No,
lyrics.
it's definitely a horror, and definitely the way it's presented in that movie, it's horror for sure. But because it's like a musical, it makes it kind of hard. Because like if I'm renting horror movies and it's a musical that night, and I'm like, this is bull crap, man. This isn't what I paid for. So I think I have to put that like in the musical comedies.
Well, it gives like Little Shop of Horrors, right? That's also
This is
like
in that vein. This is in that
feeding
spirit.
feeding the plant.
So what
Although
do you put
that
Little Shop of Horror? Do you put that in comedy or horror?
well, it's musical, right? Are we talking musical comedy?
So at your
And Little
video
Shop.
store at Dino's Rentals, you have a
I think
um
I
a
think they
musical section.
also I think they oh well it all goes under musical, right? I feel like
So there's a
Sweeney
musical
Todd.
section at your video store?
Hell yeah!
Okay.
I'm not putting like you want a musical, you go to the musical part, and that's where you can have seven brothers for seven sisters, wives, or whatever, right? That we've done. You'll have Grease, you'll have Sweeney Todd, Little Shops, you'll have this. The producers. Now the question is, do you have both producers films, right? Because that's the thing of like the original producers movie is about making a musical, so it does have some songs, but it's not truly a musical. But then they did a musical on Broadway about the producers that then they did a movie from which is the musical.
Break,
Uh,
Dino's rental house where they make the tough decisions.
so I made the tough decision to take Dino out.
oh, breaking news: Dino's Rental is closed down for having two.
Right, real talk. Out of here. They couldn't they couldn't open the store on time because they couldn't figure out how to section that bitch.
Every day the movies are in different sections.
All
uh,
right. So I guess that leads us well into our final thought. Let's jump into it. Marina, take us away.
yeah, like I said initially, I enjoyed it. Honestly, kind of sad I'd never already watched it. I'll definitely watch it again. I'm definitely gonna take up a friend that says, "Do you want to come to a sing along?" And I'm gonna be down. And I don't know who I'm gonna dress as. I guess everyone will just have to be surprised. But I definitely understand the hype of the culture because even though it doesn't even make any sense when you think about it, there's so many layers, so much going on, but there's just something so joyful and so liberating about the mood of it all. And I definitely see why people love this and people keep it alive. It's like the longest lasting release. Something I don't know. Don't quote me. It's something going down with this movie, but it's yeah, really good. Good pick. Glad I got to watch it. Um, and yeah, I recommend it to some other geezer who hasn't seen it before.
Cool,
Yeah,
cool, cool.
yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. Dino, you're a geezer and you've seen it before. What do you got?
Yeah. Again, I would probably watch this again. I feel like almost everyone. I thought maybe you had already watched it, Jason, so that surprised me. But I guess just my whole gang of people that I used to be around had already all seen it. But I would still recommend this. I would probably go to another showing, like a midnight showing of this at some point. Just a fun fact: Colombia has what are the Mickey ears in the when she's in the bedroom and they're watching, Susan Sarandon's character with Rocky, and those are actually Disneyland Mickey ears because the actress had been to Disneyland and got herself some Mickey ears, and it actually has her name on it, but I guess she just wore it backwards, and I guess she really wanted it. She was wearing it everywhere and wanted it to be in the movie so bad that she didn't want to take it off. So stuff like that, I like rewatching these and like, are those Mickey ears? Let me research about that.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's it. It's a very enjoyable film. I will say I waited for final thoughts. There's some slow parts of the film, but it's very enjoyable.
I would agree with most of those statements as well. Um, Steve Des, do you have a final thought for us, or did you want to participate in the reindeer games?
Final thoughts. Thank you for that, Jason. I still have to give the movie another rewatch in order for me to understand better with the context that you guys brought up on the discussion. Because, like I mentioned before, I was lost, and it makes me relieve that also you guys were lost, and it's good to know that. But I was definitely more lost than you guys. At least you guys had like a map and went like, at least we can see this point and that point. I was just like, what is this? Is this a dream? Is this in the same world as Beetlejuice? Is this I don't know. Is everybody dead? Is this the afterlife? Is this purgatory? Is this happening all the month of June, like every month?
Hmm,
Uh, so yeah, but it's definitely very intriguing, and definitely the acting, even though sometimes ridiculous, in the film, it's superb. It's absolutely amazing. And what's the name of the dude that played the main character?
Tim
Tim
Curry?
Curry.
Tim Curry. So, fun fact, I believe this is his most iconic role, right?
Sure.
Has
This and it,
Gateable.
but
so like I how I know him, and it's not, I don't think it's a big part, but like it was ingrained in my memory. This is how fucking great of an actor this dude is. I remember him from Home Alone.
two.
Ah,
I brought
yeah.
that up, but yeah, Home Alone 2.
And like I think it was like a very small part.
Mid-size, him and Rob Schneider. He was the Major D at the hotel, so he was a little bit of a side character, but he had multiple scenes.
Yeah,
Um,
but for me to like as a kid to like
yeah.
remember him like crazy, I was like, yo.
That's me and Annie. He was in Annie.
Oh wow.
Um, he was like one
Yeah.
of the guys who was trying to kidnap her to
Mhm.
get her inheritance, I guess, or something. I don't remember, but
Oh,
big
I don't remember that at all.
easy street.
Yeah, I feel like he was the bad guy in a lot of kids' movies. He was also in like one of the Adams Family movies, like after the original two.
Mm.
He was in like the third Adams Family
Oh,
movie.
he was actual Adams, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken.
he was
Oh,
Gomez.
speak his facial expression. The big scene from Home Alone 2 is where he like realizes that the credit card that Macaulay Culkin was using or whatever, like he was actually cheating. His smile, he has such a great smile, and it blends into the Grinch cartoon.
Oh yeah, it's
Like
perfect. It's wonderful.
the
Yeah,
control of his like facial expression and smile
it's pretty
going
terrific.
right blending into the Grinch is amazing. Um,
Agreed. All right. Well, I'll give you my final thought. So I do want to see this movie again. I would like to see it with a group of people who are like pros at it. Like I want to see this movie at a midnight screening. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go to the upcoming one. I kind of want to in a weird way, but I also want to go to like one of the more rambunctious ones. I want to like see where people are throwing stuff and where people are like saying their lines or whatever their call and response or whatever they might be doing while they watch the movie. I just want to see some people do it who do it. Like I want to see what that's like. So yeah, I would be watching this again. Who would I recommend this to? I would recommend like this. The people who've always loved this to me are like people who are like Dino said in the theater. Like theater kids like love this thing to death. Community theater people seem to love this thing to death. It's always playing at a theater, community theater at some point in the year. So it's a really big musical in that regard. I'm sure. So all those types of people who like musicals, comedy, if you are a real horror fan and you got to see horror like a cinephile sees horror, I think you got to add this. If you're a cinephile, you got to add this. Um, I think most people would probably enjoy this. I think Marina kind of nailed it with the central message for me being it's sort of like just a liberating experience. It's like just be yourself and have fun and be liberated, like, even sexually or whatever. Like, that's what this thing is, I think is really trying to say. Well, actually, this thing is also saying especially sexually, but I just say, like, just be who you want to be. Period. Like like you could be who you want to be. Don't be afraid to be who you want to be. That's what I feel like this thing is saying to me, at least, considering the time, I guess. So that's it. That's my final thought. My last question is for the evening is Steve. What do you got for us next week?
Next week, I am so happy and so glad that you asked me because it is my turn.
Oh,
And I can't decide. I can't decide in which movie I'm going to pick. I did decide on the category. So from the bracket, I can only pick from box office bombs, which when I looked at some of the list, I was like, not a big fan. Or movies that start with the first letter of my name. And I'm going with that, but I can't
Space Jam.
it's Space Jam 2, actually. No, I can't decide. So I'm gonna play a little game with you guys. So I want you to think. So I have three options, right? But I'm not going to give you none of the details of the movie. Nothing. Absolutely nada. The only thing I'm gonna give you is a year. But I don't want you to think of the year as in for the movie. I want you to think out of these years, which year did you feel the most amazing about life? So I'm going to give you 3 years, and you have to pick the one that you felt the most amazing about life
Okay.
between three. So number one, we're going with 2007. Number two, 2010. Or number three, 2011. So I will repeat it one more time.
7, 10, 11.
Number one, 2007. Number two, 2010. And number three, 2011. Which year did you feel the most amazing about life? And we're going in three, two, one, go. Ooh, so the almost winner, I guess I'm not gonna reveal the one that nobody voted for. The almost winner, which was what Dino picked, was the well, you said number one, right?
Yeah.
Dino?
Yeah,
2007.
2007.
2007. It would have been super bad.
Superbad was a flop?
No, it's on
Oh
my
no. Oh, okay. I was thinking flops. Yeah.
no.
Okay.
But the movie that got picked, which is 2010, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh wow! I was just thinking about this song like a day or two ago. Thinking
That
about
Okay.
that
was a
movie, I think.
flop, wasn't it?
No, it was actually a flop.
It's
I
not a
thought so.
flop. It starts with the first letter of my name.
I think
Maybe
it's
you
on
Well,
purposes.
it can be both. Dreams, the one I picked, was both.
Yeah, and that's why it sucked. Uh, anyway, so for Jason underscore Echoes, the Marina Love, El Dantino, and me, Steve Does TV, we'll catch you next week to see a movie that doesn't suck and it's not a flop. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.